form. The question is, Simi was banned, it metamorphosized into PFI. Tomorrow, if you're going to ban PFI, it's going to metamorphosize into something else.
Right. Thank you, Zakka. So I have been saying this several times, even in your show, but I think, banning PFI may be a bigger, fish to fry. I think what the government needs to do is freeze the assets of all the people and, not just PFI, but all the linked organizations for whom we already have the proof that they have been funding violence across cities all over India. Because, we've been discussing mob violence and street violence since March of this year, and we are still discussing it. We've seen violence even today, and every incident has shown that, PFI is either sponsoring it, or there are people involved, or there are some links or the other. So, we already have enough evidence to do something like freezing their assets so they can at least stop funding violence, so they can at least stop funding the people who trigger the violence or hiring more people for it. The list goes on and on. So my point is that, whether we ban it or not, and whether we can ban it or not is a separate question, but there needs to be steps where we first thwart the attempts to first even start violence like the one which we are seeing today. I mean, this is PFI protesting arrest of their leaders, and now we are basically creating the same problem which we're trying to check by, banning PFI. So I think the other point I want to make here is, we're talking about moderate Muslims condemning it, which is a welcome step. But I think the moderate Muslims need to go one step ahead of just condemning it. They need to be a little bit more proactive so we understand that they exist. Because, we hear these squeaky voices now and then that moderate Muslims are condemning PFI and things like that, which is good. But we need to be a bit more proactive. They need to take political and legal action.
No, but Aarti, the same can be asked when a Yati Narasimhanand makes hate speech. People ask the same question, where are the moderate Hindus? Why are they not coming out and condemning it unequivocally?
They do come out. Of course, they do come out. There has been action against Yati Narasimha Singh. There have been enough people who have condemned him from the so-called Hindutva side, the people they label as Hindutva. Enough of those people have condemned him. So there has been action against him.
No, so Vikram Singh, respond to that. The accusation against law enforcement agencies is, in some cases, you go after, the Muslim extremists, but you're quiet against, extremists of the Hindu faith or any other faith for that matter. And that is a double standard that the law enforcement agencies are applying. Now, surely, in the case of the PFI, it is no one's case that, this crackdown should not have happened, or that it's no one's case that everybody who's been picked up is guilty. That ultimately will have to be proved in a court of law. But when questions are being asked of even-handedness or equity before law, that all sides are treated the same, that is something that is being asked by some folks.
Zakka, selective action is just not acceptable. That is no action whatsoever. It is counterproductive. Equality before law is an established tenet of law, and I would strongly recommend that you not only have to be equal and be absolutely impartial in the eyes of law, but to your own conscience also. It does not work if you show me the man and I show you the rules. Yati Narasimhanand or whoever has taken law in his own or her hands is accountable before law, and deterrent action has to be taken, as Maulana Qadri Sahab has just. Whatever Maulana Sahab has said, Maulana Sahab की बातें जो हैं वो मरहम लगाने वाली हैं, और मैं चाहता हूँ इसको सोने की इमारत में मड़वा करके हर घर में टांगा जाए, जिससे कि लोगों को नसीहत मिले, मशवरा मिले, उम्दा और मुफीद और आसान मशवरा मिले, जिसे कि गलत रास्ते की तरफ करना छोड़े देखे भी नहीं. But what we need is a voice of sanity. Of course, the architecture of violence has not to be addressed by the Prime Minister or the Home Minister. It will be addressed by the station house officer and the Superintendent of Police and the Superintendent of Jails. Attempting to assassinate the Prime Minister of the country is not something that can be condoned or swept underneath the carpet. Training people and radicalizing the youth is also cannot be swept underneath the carpet. Training the youth and also getting funds, illegitimate funds, and using them ostensibly for the rehabilitation of widows and orphans and the destitute, and misusing it for subversive purposes and anti-national activities cannot be dismissed as swept underneath the carpet. Zakka, one has to be cruel to be kind, and I would say whether it incarnates as something, I have been a part of the banning of Simi, and therefore the mistake that we made then, we cannot allow this to reincarnate as something else.
In some other form,
biometric.
I want to ask Ghanshyam Tiwari, I want to go back a bit of background for our viewers. There was in 2017 a case, it was famously called the Vallarpatnam case, where two members of the PFI were arrested for sending two individuals to Turkey to join the Islamic State. In fact, one of them was picked up from Turkey. Now, my question is very simple, Ghanshyam Tiwari. Here you have an organization whose members have been convicted for sending people to be part of IS, for sending people to be part of Daesh. They lose no opportunity in protesting, sometimes even violently, against things like CAA, hijab, Ram Navami. All of this, the PFI's hand has been shown in the public domain. All of this information is there in the public domain. Why should such an organization ever get a long rope?
Because the Home Minister of India wants such an organization to have a long rope. When the Home Minister is not in charge and a station superintendent has to be in charge of this in India, which police station can deal with such an organization? This was a NIA raid against which they called this hartal. What is the responsibility of the Home Minister of India? If there is an organization that is creating violence, creating hate, shouldn't the Home Minister of India look at how this organization has to be curtailed and this hate narrative has to be killed?
But Ghanshyam Tiwari, just a short interjection, 10 seconds. Are you telling me that a multi-state operation across 15 states did not have coordination by the Home Minister or the Home Ministry? Surely that could not have happened.
Well, if the Home Minister is not available on the job, no one from BJP is taking responsibility. Just on this show, we learned that how PFI has grown in the last 7 years. And on a previous day, the Supreme Court is asking, where is our nation headed? About hate speech in media, and asking why is Centre standing a mute witness? Centre is standing a mute witness anywhere where the hate is at the center of the narrative. Because the Centre, BJP, wants to benefit from this whole hate architecture. Okay. Why do you think Mr. Amit Shah is in Simanchal in Bihar, and why is he not there in Kerala? Would he only be in Kerala when he has to participate in municipal elections?
No, let me
government
ask,
that is
Tara Karta, as somebody involved in the national security architecture previously, ma'am, could such an elaborate 15-state operation have happened individually at the level of the NIA or the local police help that they have taken in BJP ruled states and CRPF help that they've taken in non-BJP ruled states? Surely an operation of this scale had to be coordinated from the center.
Oh, absolutely, Zakka. There is no two way. There is no way it can be done without the Home Minister, and particularly this Home Minister, keeping a very sharp eye on this. However, there's something I want to say. When you're talking of curbing this, you look at some of the videos which have come out, which I have seen from the PFI. They are horrifying. These are by the local mullahs and so on and so forth. There are political people who are from the PFI, legislators, who are saying the most absurd things. I don't want to repeat it here because it's horrifying. That is where moderate Muslims need to step in and stop this kind of teaching from going on, because this is what is infecting the state. However, I would also give a small caution here. This kind of violence is extremely unusual to Kerala. I mean, it seems to me a kind of an orchestration which has taken place. Unless the PFI was already prepared with this kind of thing, I don't know. Third thing is, you also need to look at the criminal angle. The PFI has been involved in a lot of criminal activities. If it's grown from my home state to, I think, nearly 22 states now, there's a lot of money there.
Okay.
So